The phone vibrated on the counter like a trapped insect, rattling against a granite in short, frantic bursts. I remember thinking it sounded panicked, out of place in our quiet kitchen, where the only other noise was the hum of the refrigerator and the rain tapping at the window. I wasn't snooping. That's the lie I told myself as I reached for it. I was just closer than she was. Just try and make it stop. The screen lit up with a name I didn't recognize and a message preview that read, "Last night doesn't leave my skin." My chest tightened so fast it felt like someone had pulled a cord inside me. I didn't open the message. I didn't have to. The words hovered there, glowing, undeniable. When I set the phone back down, my hand was shaking hard enough to knock over my coffee mug. Brown liquid bled across the counter, seeping into the grout like a slow stain. When she came home an hour later, she was humming. It was such a small thing, almost nothing, but it scraped against my nerves. She kicked off her shoes, shrugged out of her coat, kissed my cheek. Her lips lingered a fraction too long, like she was trying to convince herself of something. "You're quiet," she said. "Didn't sleep well." I lied. She studied me, eyes narrowing just enough to suggest suspicion, then smiled. That same smile I'd fallen in love with. The one that used to feel like a promise. The days after were filled with that kind of quiet terror. The kind that doesn't scream but whispers. She worked late. She showered as soon as she got home. She started locking her phone. Each detail was small enough to rationalize, but together they formed a shape I couldn't unsee. At night, she turned away from me in bed. Her back a wall I pressed my doubts against until they bruised. I wanted to be wrong. I wanted so badly to be wrong that I almost convinced myself I was. Almost. The proof came on a Thursday. A receipt in the pocket of her coat for a hotel across town. 2 glasses of wine. Dinner for 2. When I confronted her, she didn't deny it. She sat at the edge of the couch, hands clasped so tightly her knuckles went white, and stared at the floor like it might offer absolution. "I didn't plan for it to happen," she said. Her voice was steady, which somehow hurt more. "It just did." The room felt smaller, the air thick and unbreathable. I laughed once, a sharp, broken sound that didn't feel like it came from me. "How long?" I asked. She hesitated. That pause told me everything. "A few months." I nodded, because if I shook my head, I thought it might come off. "Okay," I said. "Okay." I went to the bedroom and pulled my suitcase from the closet. The zipper sounded impossibly loud in the silence. I folded clothes with mechanical precision, my hands numb, my mind a blur of memories I didn't ask for. Our wedding day, her laugh in the rain, the way she used to squeeze my hand 3 times to say I love you. She stood in the doorway, arms wrapped around herself. "Please," she whispered, "don't do this." I didn't look at her. "You already did." That's when she yelled it. Not screamed. Yelled, sharp and desperate, like throwing a last rope before someone goes under. "It was your father." The words slammed into me harder than any accusation could have. I froze, one sock dangling from my hand. My pulse roared in my ears. "Don't," I said quietly. "Don't make this worse." "I'm not lying," she said. Tears streamed down her face now, uncontained. "God, I wish I were. It started when he offered to help us with the mortgage. He'd come by when you were at work. He said it was for your sake, that you wouldn't understand." My father's face flashed in my mind, his easy smile, his hand always too heavy on my shoulder, the way he looked at her sometimes when he thought I wasn't watching. I dismissed it. Of course I had. "You expect me to believe this?" I asked. My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. "He said if I told you, he'd tell you the truth about your mother," she sobbed. "About why she really died." The room tilted. My mother's death was the bedrock of my childhood, the unquestioned story that shaped everything. A sudden illness, a tragedy. I'd built my life on that narrative. My suitcase slipped from the bed and hit the floor with a dull thud. I left anyway. Some truths are too heavy to carry all at once. Weeks passed. The betrayal didn't fade. It mutated. Anger gave way to grief. Grief to a hollow ache that settled in my bones. I stopped answering my father's calls. I couldn't bear to hear his voice. One night, unable to sleep, I opened an old box of my mother's things. Letters, medical records, a journal I'd never seen before. The entries near the end were frantic, terrified, mentions of threats. Of my father. The last line was written in a shaking hand. If anything happens to me, it won't be an accident. I sat on the floor until dawn, the weight of it crushing my chest. By morning, the story I believed my whole life was gone, replaced by something darker and more complicated than I'd ever imagined. I went back to the house that afternoon. My wife opened the door like she'd been waiting there the entire time. We didn't touch. We didn't apologize. Some wounds are too deep for that. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said. I know, she replied. I don't know if I deserve it. We stood there, surrounded by the wreckage of truths uncovered too late. Love didn't vanish in that moment. But it changed, warped by betrayal and fear, and the unbearable knowledge that sometimes the people who hurt us most are the ones we trusted first. I had started packing my bags to escape a marriage I thought was broken by infidelity. What I uncovered instead was a legacy of secrets. Proof that betrayal doesn't begin or end with a single choice, but echoes through generations, waiting for the moment it finally demands to be heard.